for this one. Taking a look at Pete Prisco's latest power rankings, no change when it comes to the top 4 teams there. There are 3 scenarios where the Eagles could be the first team to clinch a playoff berth this season. Also, Cowboys, Vikings, 49ers, Bengals all moving up after their Week 12 wins, with the Ravens falling after they lose to the Jags. The Titans, and we're going to get into this, Pete's biggest loser of the week. 11 through 20, you will find Pete's biggest riser this week, and the Browns up 8 spots to number 17. They get Deshaun Watson back this week here. The Jags also jumping 8 spots after they beat the Ravens. Trevor Lawrence, this is the guy we've been waiting to see. 21 through 32, the Packers continue to fall. They lost to the Eagles. Was the silver lining in that? Jordan Love, maybe it's time to shut down Aaron Rodgers for the season. Broncos 31, lowest ranking of the season so far for them when it comes to Pete's power rankings. So let's welcome in the man behind the power rankings, the one and only Pete Prisco. I thought that was a good introduction, right?
Yeah, that is
B-Mac decided to join us. B-Mac, you're a little late getting on the call. Pete was really excited about that, said he was going to be able to bury you, but you're here. So we're going to start with a rematch of last season's AFC Championship game. Chiefs and Bengals in Cincinnati. As I mentioned, the Bengals won that. The Chiefs favored in this one here in Cincy by about 2. So Pete, the Chiefs #1 in your power rankings. You got the Bengals moving up here. They're cruising, though. They're getting Jamar Chase back for this one, so give us a preview of these two teams.
I can't wait for this game. These are my kind of games. When you see 2 great quarterbacks, guys who can throw it around, you're going to see a lot of points. First one to 35 wins, I love that idea. I can't wait because they're both explosive on offense. They both have issues on defense, and usually that ends up being a high-scoring game. The only thing that could ruin that is if there's any weather. And I took a little peek. It doesn't look like it's going to be too bad.
Meteorologist Pete Prisco.
Now, we never know if that, because I hate games that are impacted by the weather. I absolutely hate that, particularly when it's all quarterback and offense and wide receivers. So let's hope the weather is good that week on Sunday, this week on Sunday, and we see a lot of points. I can't wait to see it. They beat them twice last year, and once they beat them to go to the Super Bowl.
I agree with you. This should be one of the more entertaining games in the National Football League this weekend. Both quarterbacks playing extremely well. Both offenses are starting to click. You talk about Jamar Chase returning. Yeah, so it should be entertaining. But, when you look at these type of matchups and in years past, when you think you're going to see a lot of points, you know exactly what happens. You don't see a lot of points. So it wouldn't surprise me to not see the scoring affair that we believe we will see based on how prolific and good these two guys have been in their offenses. Because, as you mentioned, both defenses have had concerns, Pete. But let's keep it real. Both defenses have improved over the last few weeks as well, especially the Cincinnati Bengals. But this could be a preview of what we could see in January football, because I do believe clearly the Kansas City Chiefs, they have playoff aspirations, and I think the same can be said for the Cincinnati Bengals.
All right, Pete. So if you take a look, if I had a green screen behind me, in Cincinnati, it is a high of about 55 degrees on Saturday with a 50% chance of rain.
Our meteorologist gave us great news. That's great news.
50-50.
That means it's not going to impact the game. People will love that because they'll see quarterback throwing the football all over the place. I love this.
Put your good juju out there, mojo,
I did.
whatever.
That's why I did.
There.
I made a deal with the man above. He talks to me, and I said, make sure that weather's good in Cincinnati this week, and he's going to do it.
That's going to be a fun one. The theme of this week in Week 13 is rematches and reunions. So let's go to a reunion here. Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel facing his former team in the 49ers there. The Dolphins holding steady at #3 in your power rankings. You got the 49ers rising. You said they were going to do that over the course of the season. Here they are. Can the 49ers defense hold steady against the Dolphins? I'm also curious which team, when it comes to the playoffs, maybe can go a little further between these two.
Well, let's start with this game.
Let's
And I think when you look at these two teams, it's clearly the matchup of that defense in San Francisco against the offense. And then you look at the other side, though. What's the weakest unit in the game? And I think the weakest unit in the game is the Dolphins' defense. I think the 49ers' offense now, with so many weapons, they're dangerous in every area. They can run it, they can throw it, they have weapons outside, they can use McCaffrey in many different ways. The offensive line is improved. So this is going to be a classic matchup of which bad unit, because one of the bad units, and they're not bad, they're the worst units in the game, is the Dolphins defense, which played better last week. That was the Texans. So can the Dolphins go further than the 49ers? No, I think the 49ers have an easy path. I really do. I think there's only a couple teams in the NFC that are really have a chance to make the whole thing, go to the Super Bowl and win it, and they're one of them. They're getting better week by week.
Yo, Amanda, you talked about the San Francisco 49ers defense. That's the unit that I'm watching out for the most because, of course, I'm a defensive-minded guy. But if you look at what the 49ers defense has done over the last 3-4 weeks, they've been lights out. They've been extremely dominant. But they're playing against a very, very explosive offense, one of the best offenses in the National Football League in regards to big-time splash-like plays. Can the 49ers defense slow down the Miami Dolphins? Because if they want to be put in that conversation as one of the best to ever do it, number one, you got to win a championship. But number two, you got to dominate and show up against outstanding, prolific like offenses. You're at home, so you have the home crowd to your disposal. That should be an advantage. You're playing against a coach who you should know extremely well and vice versa in Mike McDaniels. Not to mention your pass rushers, you're starting to get a little healthier. So this is a great measuring stick for the San Francisco 49ers defense because I feel like if they're going to go deep in the postseason, if they're going to make a legit shot at a Super Bowl title, it's not just about their offense and Jimmy G. It's about their defense. And one thing we know about playoff football, defenses travel. This is a great opportunity to show the entire football world that, you know what, we don't just beat up on bad teams. We can beat up on some of the best offenses in the National Football League. So I can't wait to see exactly what DeMeco Ryans and his staff have in store for Cheetah and Tua and crew.
You said an easier path for the 49ers. Dolphins next 3 game, Chargers, at Bills, and then hosting the Packers.
Yeah, starting this week, 49ers on the road, at Chargers, then the Bills. You look at that run, this is the chance for Tua to win the MVP. If he goes out and plays well, and I'm talking about puts up big numbers against all 3 of those teams, and they win those games, it's between him and Patrick Mahomes for the MVP.
If the season ended today, 49ers right now holding that 3 seed in the NFC, Titans holding the 3 seed when it comes to the AFC. They took a big tumble in Pete's power rankings, down 5 spots to number 10 after losing to the Bengals. Couldn't get Derrick Henry going. Another reunion going on this week. Titans in Phillies on Sunday in Philadelphia. A.J. Brown reuniting with his old team there. B-Mac, Titans falling 5 spots in Pete's power rankings. Give me a preview of this game, and was that loss for them worth the big tumble?
5 spots, I'm not quite sure that was worth 5 spots. They played against a team that has really, started to ascend in a different direction for the better in Cincinnati, and they just lost. And it was a close ball game. It was competitive. So 5 spots, I'm a bit concerned, and I question that.
Who should they be ahead of? Who should they be ahead of, B-Mac? Go ahead. I want you to take a shot at it.
The Ravens. For sure they should be ahead of the Ravens.
Okay.
Easily.
That was a bad loss.
Yeah, well, that was a bad loss.
That was a bad loss. Baltimore, the way they lost that ball game, especially in the fourth quarter, having the lead, losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars, no question. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Ravens outside the top 10, Pete, based on how horrible that loss was. But getting back to this matchup between the Tennessee Titans and the Philadelphia Eagles, 2 playoff caliber teams for sure. Amanda, you talked about Derrick Henry not getting things going against the Cincinnati Bengals. Well, I can tell you this much. Preview, King Henry will get things going against the Philadelphia Eagles because unfortunately for the Eagles, that has been the Achilles heel of their defense. The inability to slow down at least. I'm not necessarily saying stopping, but slowing down opposing offenses, rushing attack. They better find a way to slow King Henry down because number one, he's motivated. He didn't do anything last week. Number two, they haven't shown the ability to stop anybody, especially with Jordan Davis on the sideline.
Yeah, look, this is a classic for me. When I look at this team, I love Mike Vrabel. I think his team takes on his personality. And this will be a classic Mike Vrabel game if they went up there and won it. Physically, go after them, attack them, stop the run. The problem with Philly in this game will be if they can stop the run. The Bengals did a great job. You know what they did? They didn't let Henry get his feet going. They got penetration almost on every single play, and it limited what he could do. What do you have, 38 yards rushing in that game? They're a different team when he doesn't run the football. He'll run the ball this week against the Eagles. I can guarantee you that because they can't stop anybody when it comes to the run game.
All right, so the Ravens coming in at number 9 in your power rankings, the Titans at number 10. Would you flip those? Looking back now, would you think about it? You would still keep it the same?
I think the Ravens are better.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the Ravens are better.
V-Mac, you agree with that?
Right now, they're not better. Right now. We don't know how things will look in the next few weeks or so.
They're the same. They're basically the same team. They're limited offensively in what they can do in the passing game, and they're tough physical teams. That's what they are. They're the same team.
Wait a minute. They're not the same team. Because one thing about Tennessee, they find ways to win. Unfortunately for the Ravens, they're finding ways to lose. And I understand on paper, personnel-wise, the Ravens, they have a better defense. But production and film does not say the same thing. The Tennessee Titans have a better defense. because they perform, they execute, they are consistent. I can't say the same for the Ravens. So right now, Pete, no, I disagree. They're not the same team.
Okay, I'm going to let you guys argue about this offline. We're going to keep going here. Recapping Pete Prisco's power rankings when it comes to his top 10 there. Again, no change when it comes to the top 4. A little change moving on 5 through 8 or so. The Ravens dropping after their loss to the Jags, and then the Titans falling at 10 spots. We'll see if they can rebound in Philadelphia this week. For you this week. All right, so let's talk about the Jags' big win over the Ravens. They're your biggest riser, up 8 spots to number 20, and he called it a big boy game for Trevor Lawrence.
He's been outstanding in November. He's played as well as any quarterback in the league in November, his completion percentage is tops in the league. He's thrown 6 touchdown passes, no interceptions. He had the drive to go win that game, and he's been outstanding the entire month. And there were people when he went to London and played the Broncos who thought, hey, maybe he's a flop. Maybe he will be a bust. That was ridiculous then, and it's even more ridiculous now. Trevor Lawrence will be a superstar quarterback. Sustainable success in the NFL will come with that position. The Jaguars will be relevant for the next decade.
Okay, and I do want to put this, BMAC, going to you, because at the bottom you see there in his power rankings, Pete said that they will win or make it to the playoffs, but in 2023, BMAC.
I can see that becoming a reality. They have talent, especially if Trevor Lawrence continues to develop and grow within their offense. They will only go as far as their quarterback will take them. And I think he has a skill set. I agree with everything that Pete mentioned in regards to Trevor Lawrence. When you look at his athletic ability, the arm strength, the accuracy, when he's on, he's on. The issue for Trevor this year, outside of the month of November, he's given us too many oh no moments. Like, oh no, what are you doing? Because we know he has a unique skill set. Just the consistency in displaying that skill set has been up and down so far this season. So can we see a consistent stride from Trevor? I'm not necessarily saying the big boy throws that he made this past Sunday against the Ravens, but just somewhere in that neighborhood of being very, very accurate, because they've done everything you would want a team to do offensively in trying to provide quality contributors to the offense to get the most out of their quarterback. It's up to Trevor Lawrence to take that step in the right direction. If he continues to do that, no question, because I love everything about this team. They have young talent. They will continue to add a few more pieces. Yeah, they should be able to get into the postseason and maybe make some hay happen if Trevor Lawrence does what he's supposed to do.
You got to give him a little bit benefit of the doubt. For last year, he played for the worst coach in the history of the National Football League, Brady Quinn's good buddy, Urban Meyer. Terrible football coach.
How much credit do you give to Doug Peterson for what they're doing?
A lot. Doug Peterson's a real football coach and not some college coach trying to masquerade as an NFL head coach.
Jack coming in at number 20. We'll see if maybe they can continue to hop up in your power rankings. We're going to throw one in here because there is news coming down when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. Packers number 24, I believe, in your power rankings right now. You have brought out the shovel. You have buried this team. We saw Aaron Rodgers leave their loss to the Eagles with a rib injury. He's been dealing with multiple injuries. It is said all over social media, analysts, put him out for the season. Have him be done. We saw Jordan Love come in. Aaron Rodgers today on the Pat McAfee show saying he received good news about his ribs, that he does intend to play this weekend against the Bears. Your initial reaction hearing that?
I'm not surprised, because why should he not play? If he's healthy enough to play, Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback, and he should be the quarterback. We saw some throws in that game on Sunday. You went, wow, that's Aaron Rodgers again. He's playing with a bad thumb. If he's healthy enough to play, and he wants to play, and they're technically still alive in the playoff race, then you play. And I think he wants to play. By the way, I think if they beat the Bears, don't they become the winningest franchise in history? In terms of wins and losses, for some way, somehow, there's something going on with that.
I will have that answer for you.
That he will want to play in that game. So here's the deal. Jordan Love looked really good the other night for Jordan Love in Aaron Rodgers. And if they get eliminated, I have no problem playing Jordan Love if Aaron Rodgers is banged up to the point where he can't play. But if he's not, on the sideline, he's capable of playing, he's not that hurt, then let him play if he wants to play. I have no problem with this at all.
I agree with you. You're paying Aaron Rodgers with almost $50 million. Like you said, if he's cleared to go, he won't be hampered or feeling any discomfort in this ball game against a team they should be able to beat with or without Aaron Rodgers. In my opinion, not knowing the status of Justin Fields just yet, yes, play him. And Aaron Rodgers, I'm happy hearing that he wants to play because he owes it to this team. He is a leader on this team. Granted, it's been a very, very difficult year for them, but he is still their leader. So for him to be able to get notified from the medical staff that, yes, you're able to go, yes, go out there and rally with the troops.
Pete, let me ask you this. You buried the Packers, though. Even if Aaron Rodgers plays, are they
done.
still buried? They're still under the ground. Like, the ground has settled.
Oh, they're done.
Yeah.
They're
the
done.
tombstone is there.
The flowers are growing already on the grave.
All right.
They're done.
We've now brought like a second round of flowers to the Packers and visited, said our respects.
Done.
If you're burying someone this week, who is it?
I'm burying the Colts. The Colts are done. They play the Cowboys this week. That's it. They're done. They're in prime time again this week. Why are they doing that to us? They're awful right now. They're a bad football team. And you look at the offensive line. They had moments where they played better, but Matt Ryan was unsteady playing quarterback. The run game, they got away from it. I thought the play calling was terrible. The end of the game clock management was awful by Jeff Saturday, by the way. They're done. They're finished. Technically they're not, but I can't see them getting on any sort of run at all. And surprisingly, their defense has played pretty well this year. Gus Bradley's done a good job with that defense considering Darius Leonard hasn't been in there. So I think they're the team. You look at them, yeah, they're still mathematically alive, but they're not. They're going in the wrong direction. Whereas I think Jacksonville has a chance to go in the right direction. By the way, B-Mac, are the Titans locking up that division? Here's the Titans' schedule. They got problems, buddy. Play the Eagles. They got the Jaguars. Jacksonville could get back in that race. They stink.
They're not too far behind.
They all stink. They all stink.
Yeah, but you're being a homer right now.
No.
I understand the Titans have a difficult schedule, but we always say we put more trust in the Titans and winning the number of ball games they need to win that division. It's a one-team race right now in the AFC South. I understand you talk about the surge in Jacksonville Jaguars and things like that, but you're not putting your trust in Jacksonville winning this division.
I'm not.
No.
The Titans own them. They beat them. They just dominate them. They'll win both those games. I'm kidding. They'll dominate them. They'll beat them both times.
Okay.
I'm trying
I just had to check. I just had to make sure.
Pete, I promised we would find this for you. I believe you're correct. If they win this week, they will tie the Bears with the most regular season all-time wins.
Yeah.
I believe so. And ironically, it's
it might
against
be
the Bears.
even pass them. But
maybe. But one or the other, either tie or pass them. So yes, Aaron Rodgers would want to be a part of that.
Right, he'd want to be a part of that.
B-Mac, I want to tease your podcast really quickly because you guys have a special one coming up this week, right? You're going to be live against the Jets?
No question. Live in Minnesota. I wanted Pete Prisco to come with me, but I guess he has a disclaimer. If it's below 30 degrees, he's not stepping foot in that state, in that city. So unfortunately, he's not a team player. But yes, big-time ball game. 2 playoff caliber teams. 1 o'clock Eastern, Minnesota hosting the Jets. Can't wait to see it live. And of course, we will be dropping a live podcast right after the ball game.
B-Mac, I can't leave. This place would collapse without me. What are you talking about? I can't go anywhere.
That might be true.
Come on.
Can't wait to watch or listen. B-Mac, Pete Prisco, thank you. Scan that QR code or download and follow All Things Covered. Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.